I will begin by going over what the Kha'Zix discussion is, just for people who haven't been to one already and have not seen one. It's basically a big group discussion where we can have the guests touch on important topics for Kha'Zix and break down what's viable, what's optimal, and what you should do on Kha'Zix to climb. We'll go one by one and then open up to a group discussion at the end where you can ask questions. It'll be a Q&A panel. So we'll go through each question that you guys have for them and we'll address it at the end. And that's pretty much it. So I'll introduce our guests. Firstly, Tingus, former Challenger Oceanic, YouTuber, ASMR artist extraordinaire. We all know him.
Who?
Hello, Tingus.
Hello, guys.
We have
How are we doing?
not Demir yet. He will join probably soon. He's former rank 1 in NA, former wizard, part-time in Zhao Min. Cyber is here, actually. He's currently Grandmaster Jungler for Revival in Western University. Has a lot of experience on Kha'Zix Challenger a couple weeks ago. Currently not Challenger. We don't talk about that. Exos, sometimes the best Kha'Zix on EU West. His very good Kha'Zix impression. Definitely not a toxic streamer. Pretty good. We have Zutter, Season 9, Season 10, Challenger in NA. Hello. Not too much else to say. Pretty good player. Okay player.
Yeah, just okay.
Just okay. Zakilla will be here in text chat. So we set up a channel for Zakilla to answer because he won't be able to use his microphone. So if you have a question for Zakilla, just feel free to ping him in Zakilla Zone with whatever questions you have during the seminar, and he'll get through them and answer them. He's currently rank 1 in NA, only challenger from NA that mains Kha'Zix right now that I'm aware of. Izond, if that's how you pronounce it, best Kha'Zix in Hong Kong, Grandmaster in Taiwan, has a lot of experience playing Kha'Zix. Hello, Izond. Are you there?
Hi.
Hello. Big fan. We have X Mega, also not here yet. He'll be joining shortly. Currently Grandmaster, has a lot of experience on the champ. Then we have Quantum Physics, quite a memer. Master in NA. Last season? I don't know if you're currently Master. Zach.
Hi, Decada.
Oh shit. Okay.
D175, sure. Okay.
Alright. Fair enough. But yeah, that's everyone at the moment. More people will join in soon and give their take on Kha'Zix topics. We wanted to start with runes and keystones first.
Of course.
Of course.
Of course it's runes.
The hot topic. And we have Tingus here, of course. The master of keystones, actually. So
Good.
how about we start off with like a hot take? We start off with Dark Harvest. Some people hate it, some people are only using Dark Harvest, so who wants to go first on Dark Harvest?
I guess I'll go first. Is it a hot take? Is it really? I feel like Dark Harvest is like universally approved by everyone with Kha'Zix. Or is that just me? Because
some people swear by Electrocute.
Yeah, I mean Dark Harvest is just it's your traditional snowballing keystone, right? Like you can't really go wrong with it if you get kills. But yeah, it's just like as opposed to Electrocute, you could argue it's less consistent. But I would say you're playing Kha'Zix, so you normally do get kills in games. So Dark Harvest is probably I would say it's like the most consistent keystone for him in the game. That's just my opinion there. But
fair enough.
Best consistent keystone in my opinion.
Saber, are you there?
Hello.
What is your take on Dark Harvest since you've used it a lot this season and last season? Do you think it's his best objectively, or do you prefer to switch out?
Say you get like more than 10 kills per game. I would recommend everybody go Dark Harvest. If you're comfortable on yourself getting a lot of kills in game and you're able to get multiple targets during team fights, then 100% go for Dark Harvest. Or else if you're like unsure on how this game is gonna go and how many kills you can get, Electrocute is probably the most consistent in my opinion.
Okay. Understandable. Is someone here not a fan of Dark Harvest that has some contrasting opinions and is not a fan of Dark Harvest?
I don't know. I just feel like it's like Electrocute's way too consistent, and like it just fits better with the theme of Kha'Zix. Like it just feels way too greedy when you're running it. Like you want to like just be able to get one kill as Kha'Zix and one shot someone. But
That's fair. We can move on to Electrocute if anyone has any opinions on that. Some people say it's a better early game, but I don't know what you guys think about it.
I feel like it's not that big of a difference, is it? I mean, level 3, what is it? It's only like 30 damage. I know it scales later once you get AD, but yeah. I mean, Electrocute is just like, it's fine, right? It's like basic source of damage. You really can't go wrong with it.
yeah, my
I
only
just
issue is,
personally
like,
prefer Dark Harvest over
my
it.
only
Just
issue is that,
'cause-
like Dark Harvest will never ever outdamage Electrocute on one target, and I feel like that's all that matters. Like it just seems way too greedy. Like because even if you have like 25 souls or something, the bonus AD scaling on Electrocute just makes it like always deal more damage no matter what. I think there's like niche cases where like certain champs you don't want to like front load your damage, like Sejuani or random shit like that, where the passive is gonna absorb all the damage, but it just seems way too greedy and you're like already a gutted early game champ and you scale fine anyway. So like why not just go Electrocute like every time?
Mm.
Yeah.
yeah, makes sense.
So the games I've been playing I haven't been playing that much, but when I do play, I'm usually going Electrocute for lethality, and it's felt better than Dark Harvest because I'm usually like snowballing already, and then when I'm killing squishies, if you kill them fast enough, it won't proc your Electrocute. So yeah, and it also fits. Well, I don't know. I'll just go into it right now, but I like going Prowler's Claw, so it also fits the Prowler's Claw for this playstyle more. Of just one-shotting one person.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Well, actually, seldom bring electrocutes because I think if I want better early game, I would just go Health Blade, and I go Dark Harvest just for the team fights procs. I can proc like 4 to 5 times, so actually seldom use electrocute.
That's fair. I know you said Halo Blade, so I know Tinge is
Yeah,
just, like,
Halo Blade,
he's
let's
just
go.
he's just shaking with excitement right now. Someone else has understood his rune.
Mm.
But
I mean,
wanted-
it is probably the strongest domination rune in the early game anyway. In the early game. In
Mhm.
level 3 fights in particular, level 3, 4. It actually does like really nice damage. Obviously it has its flaws, of course. But yeah, I get the argument with like Electrocute and like it having like the most damage and stuff. I don't know. I think the reason I like Dark Harvest is just because I traditionally don't play with damage keystones very often because I mean I don't really count Halo Blades as a damage keystone for the most part, or like Phase Rush and stuff. So I'm kind of used to playing Kha'Zix without like a front-loaded damage keystone. So for me, I feel like I never really need Electrocute or even Dark Harvest for the most part. So that's why I feel like Dark Harvest for me is like more flexible, in terms of like just securing kills, and just resetting off of those.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's just me.
I wanted to throw a question over to Exos, if you are there. What do you think is the best build with Dark Harvest and Electrocute? Do you think it can be ran with Conqueror or only like traditional Assassin?
I think it depends also on like what evils you take. Like if you go for Q evolve, you're gonna go Duskblade. If for example Electrocute or even Conk. But I think Dark Harvest with like R evolve and team fights with RW evolve, with for example like Protoss Claw is really strong right now. Because you can just use it multiple times if you play the team fights properly with your team. and it's easier to progress build because Dark Harvest you don't need to do like 3 attacks, and sometimes you can just spam your W from a side. You can get a free stack in, or you can actually like set up a team fight where you can get more stacks. And you're not like relying on like having to do three different attacks. I don't know. It feels more reliable than Electrocute.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it also has to fit the build, of course.
How often do you evolve wings when you take Dark Harvest? Do you think the synergy is worth it, or is it just like
Wings,
you're really ahead?
I take wings at 16 only right now.
Mm.
So I guess like 1/3 of the games because you don't even make it to 16 most of the times right now.
I agree.
But even without wings, Dark Harvest is pretty decent. Like with R and W, you can still get the stacks going. Because in team fights you have so much AoE.
True.
You don't need the jumps if you slow people. Like you're gonna catch up to them anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it just depends. I think in the high elos, if you play with like utility based, it's more useful than utility and low elos. I think the chaos and low elos is what makes E-Evolve really viable, like early level.
Yeah,
But-
I feel like in the like in the high elos, it's way harder to make wings work nowadays because
Mhm.
so many like chem tank junglers and like just so many tanks. Just they're just everywhere, and it's very hard to get resets. Let alone just properly use leap. So you rarely take wings half the time.
Mm-hmm. And we'll get more into evolutions towards the end or towards the next few topics. X Mega is actually here. He's fashionably late. Big fan. We haven't gone too far. We're talking about Dark Harvest and Electrocute. What do
Oh,
you
okay, okay.
typically take?
Yeah,
Or
no,
vouch for?
definitely Dark Harvest for sure.
What do you think makes Dark Harvest the strongest for you and your playstyle?
I always go W evolve, right? And I go I can't even remember. I just woke up. What's that red item called again? Dustblade. Yeah. So yo, I know I'm so bad.
By the way.
My sleep schedule's been
Oh
off.
god.
No, but I'm proccing it, right? Like at least 2 more times in a fight.
Yeah.
And Electrocute is so like one-dimensional, right? You proc it once, but like the playstyle that I run, like I heard you guys talking about utility, like for sure. I think utility always. I think E is like really bad, obviously, until you're 16 at least. Yeah, but like just like proccing Dark Harvest and Dustblade like over and over and over again, like I just think it's more beneficial. Also, the W with Dark Harvest, I feel like it's really underrated. Like it actually does a lot more damage than people think. To be honest, like you actually pick up, like I pick up a couple of kills just from that little. So yeah, that's my view on it.
Yeah, that's fair. We can move on to Conquer, everyone's other favorite keystone. I think it's still the second most popular. I might be wrong.
Yeah.
Does anyone here?
Yeah, no, I think you're right.
Does anyone here actually play Conquer like a fair amount right now?
Not at all.
I can't say I played it
that.
much.
I think Cyber does, right?
Cyber, yeah.
Yeah.
Cyber does.
Wait, we're
Yeah.
talking about Conquer now?
Conquer.
Yeah, Conquer.
Do you still run it?
So typically I just run it if the enemy team have a lot of CC, mainly for the tenacity. Sometimes I also take a secondary for the tenacity, just in case they have a lot of CC and I don't want to deal with it and I don't want to go mercs. I go CD boots a lot of time now, and I don't want to spend extra gold in game to build with tenacity, so I just take it from the runes. And also, Conquer is just better overall in a 1-on-1 setting. If you're fighting any bruiser like Hecarim, Volbear, these like meta junglers is annoying to deal with. And the rune that does more damage to like max health, I forgot the name. It's in the last row.
Cut down.
Cut down, yeah. That's pretty good for like most meta junglers nowadays. So I take that a lot with Conquer. So pretty much that.
Do you advise more bruiser itemization, or do you think you can go Conquer with like Eclipse and other lethality, or you think strictly bruiser with Conk?
Honestly, with Conquer, it doesn't matter which build you want to run. All the builds works well with Conquer, in my opinion.
When would you say Conquer is like the strongest? Early game, mid game, late game?
I feel like Conquer is the best in the extended fight and one-on-one setting. If you can proc it and then still be in a fight, that's that's really when the damage starts kicking in and the effects. You just do a lot more damage consistently rather than like one burst with Dog Harvest and Electrocute.
Mm-hmm. You typically do not evolve E with Conquer, or what is your preference?
Typically, I almost every game I go QW now because evolving E is just not that useful because people tend to group up and champions like Rel or like Volibear just stance you instantly. It's pretty annoying to deal with, and W evolve right now is just pretty broken. So there's no reason not to.
Fair enough. We can wrap up those Keystones. I did want to like have the floor to be touching on some other the runes that are less popular. Ones like Phase Rush. I know Tingis is like using it quite frequently. He might have switched. What is your thoughts on Phase now?
I switched recently, but yeah, Phase is like I said before, I don't use damage Keystones too often, but Phase is like I felt it was like this meta was really good with R Evolve because you could just like you're like basically unkillable with R Evolve and Phase in a fight, like unless you get hard CC'd. And I don't know, I just found it so useful against like in particular like Gale Force ADCs. It was just really good to counter those types of champs. Because pretty much everyone in the game has like a dash now or something stupid, some weird gimmick. So I felt Phase was really cool to kind of deal with those small little power creeps that the game had this meta. So I used that for a bit, and I climbed pretty quickly from like D4 to D1. But I stopped using it now because I felt I was losing a lot with it. I don't know what happened, but yeah, I feel like it's still pretty good. Yeah, I think it's just always going to be good, no matter what. But it's definitely something that you need to. It's like a keystone you have to get used to, and like, just realize that you don't have a damage
items?
keystone.
An item that you think is like a must for Phase Rush? Is there anyone that comes to mind?
Not really. No, you just play normal Kha'Zix really. A lot of people like Prowler's Claw, but you don't really need to go Prowlers with Phase Rush because you just run so fast. So I like going Duskblade with it and just chaining Duskblade resets when I can. That's pretty nice. Other than that, like, nah, you're pretty much set with just, a Duskblade or something. It really doesn't matter.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So that's what they say, Phase Rush. I think it's a really good niche keystone if you want to go Nullifying Orb too, into like an AP mid and Karthus. And you can also cheese people with I mean, if you want to be a cheeser, you can not take Flash and go Ignite with Phase Rush, and it's pretty decent.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Phase is like exceptionally good into, I'd say, more of the AP junglers like Talia, Karthus.
Yeah.
Those two in particular, super nice, like really good. You basically insta win the Talia matchup if you take Phase. She like there's no way she W's you. And yeah, I'd say into stuff like Graves too, that's pretty good. Graves, Kindred, just any ranged matchup, it's like really nice for staying close to them. It's not particularly needed, but it makes the matchups like super easy.
Yeah, also like she's like free kills on Lilia early because they'll like get really cocky, like
Lilia too. Yeah,
during crab fights, like at a crab they'll be a level up on you, but they'll be like pretty low, and they might just try to like kite you around. But if you can sleep on them and insta proc Phase Rush, like you'll always get their flash.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's really good for just certain niche matchups, I think, overall.
Fair enough. Do you guys think we kind of skimmed over smites and we'll go more in depth on it later? But do you think for Phase Rush, do you always want to go blue, or is it depending on the matchup?
I basically almost always go red smite. You don't really notice the blue smite at all, especially once you proc the actual phase. Blue's really good for actually getting Phase Rush off, but For the most part, I think you want to go red because usually, like most of the time, you will get your phase off regardless. So I found that red smite is just really good for like the skirmish playstyle.
I also use red smite, and I believe that red smite also proc your phase rush, not only blue smite, and so
Oh really?
I think red smite is just better because of the damage reduction. It makes you really safe, and the blue smite, you already run really fast with phase rush already, so I don't really need that.
Hmm. Yeah, that's reasonable. Another popular keystone that we can move on to is Hail of Blades. You know,
Popular.
a certain Hail of Blades enthusiast happens to be in the seminar. Tingus.
Mm.
Are there any thoughts on Hail of Blades that you didn't touch
Just
on?
don't
already?
run it.
Just don't run it. Okay.
Just don't. Like it's so doomed for this meta. Holy shit! You don't want to run Hob into campaign junglers. Anything
Like-
else, like it's actually not too bad, but right now I don't feel like it's worth running in like 70% of games because you just don't have that agency to just go like super hard in fights with resets and stuff and just kill everything. You kind of need to play utility. So it's not really. I mean, you can run it with like a utility playstyle, but I prefer just going like full damage, maximum kill potential with Hail Blades, and you can't really do that most of the time in this meta. So I don't really feel like it's worth using too much, unless you value the 3 auto attacks at like level 3 and 4. Yeah, I really don't think it's worth. Which is a shame.
Maybe that's
If
the
you're just
reason
like-
I didn't get challenger.
Holy shit! The burn
Yeah,
from Izon out
basically.
of nowhere.
If
Oh
you
my.
if you're smurfing, go for it. Or you're just playing for fun, go for it. But who plays for fun in League anymore?
True.
Basically.
I'm playing as
Not
a
really
really
worth.
game. Love it.
Fuck you. Nah, just get out. Get out.
Yeah.
This is the Kha'Zix Seminar. What are you doing?
True. This is not the Udyr seminar.
Oh, fuck that champ.
Basically, do not get your extra autos off on Udyr and Hecarim every game. And don't run Hail Blades.
Yeah, just don't waste your time. Just run Conqueror if you want to do that.
Fair enough. I don't think there are any other keystones that are worth touching on as much as some people will meme with Omnistone. I don't think it's actually viable and worth discussing.
Omnistone.
Yeah, basically just dice. Anyway, there is a debate on sudden impact versus cheap shot. If anyone has any thoughts on that topic.
I have no idea. I just run sudden impact.
I know most people run sudden impact. But there's some niche group that prefers cheap shot because it's like slightly mathematically more damage at like level 3 in crab fights or something like that.
I just thought you always ran it if you were wanting to get like bruiser or like bruisery more eclipse builds because like it's just gonna be more damage because you're never gonna like one shot a squishy and it gives you better like front to back fighting power.
Mm-hmm. One thing I see people bring up is your teammates can proc it with like Gavin Ash who puts a slow on every auto. You'll benefit from that as well and get the bonus damage rate. I know that's one argument people make for it. So if you have a team with a lot of CC, it'll be more valuable.
I don't think I would ever run it just for my team, but like I would if I just wanted to go bruiser and like it just lets you. It's just more damage when you're like fighting the other jungler
Yeah.
because you're gonna evolve W and you're gonna proc it like multiple times with your passive.
Mm-hmm. We can move on to the Ravenous Nurse since it's like very, very recent. What do you guys think about Ravenous Hunter in its current state? And would you guys always recommend going Rav over Relentless on the other one? Ultimate winner.
I've tried all the other hunters, and I
All
think
of them?
Ravenous is I think Ravenous is, in my opinion, is felt the best though even after the nurse. And I was also going I was trying Ingenious a lot with Prowlers, and I felt like it was good, but then after I started running Ravenous again, the CDR and doesn't really do anything.
Fair.
Yeah.
Madness is still most on. I was trying doing like Conquer with Sorcery second, but like Ravenous, you still heal so much even if it's well nerfed.
Yeah, I think Ravenous is also pretty good. I don't really run anything else.
Fair.
Yeah,
Do you-
the
do
nature
you
of
guys-
the
Sorry.
nature of the rune is just disgusting. It's just free healing. You may as well.
Yeah.
Like no matter how much they nerf it, it's gonna be good on Ka.
Do you guys feel the nerfs like when you use it compared to now? And then
I do, yeah.
Do you really? I actually don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, because you don't get it level 1 now. Like you don't get
Yeah.
the base 1%.
Oh, okay.
I think that's the worst part. But
Yeah. I think you definitely need like kills to find more value in it now. I've been noticing the nerfs a fair amount, but it still doesn't really matter because it does its job still. It still does its job in terms of just like healing you up on camps and stuff.
Yeah.
true.
But I prefer Relentless after the nerfs because I think that 6.5% is just not that great. Like Relentless makes you actually move faster and help your team like in a shorter time and actually kind of make your clearing faster because why pathing is important for jungle is because you move really slow, right? And actually it kind of make your clear faster and yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think Relentless is a pretty good option right now. But yeah, would you take it over Ravenous? Just, I think it's just up to you, really. Do you value the Ravenous still, or just like move speed? I think if Ravenous wasn't in the game, or wasn't as good as it was on Kha'Zix, I'd be running Relentless.
I feel like it's not bad to run if you don't need healing as much.
What Zakilla does currently is he will use Ravenous when he goes Conqueror because he feels like he already heals enough from Eclipse and Conqueror. So I know that's one other person who is using it right now.
he goes Relentless, you mean?
Yeah, Relentless, sorry. You guys have any closing thoughts or any other last words on Relentless versus Ravenous? Or Ultimate Hunter?
I think it's just playstyle dependent, really. Like whatever suits your playstyle will probably work out. That's how it usually is. But the healing is really good still, so yeah, it's my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Ravenous is necessary for last season because you don't get the only ramp on camps, but for 11, like you got the only ramp 10% from the camp, so it is not that necessary, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you do get Omnivamp off camps too. Yeah, that's a good point. Plus, like, yeah, if you do run Eclipse, obviously you got that Omnivamp there as well. So I don't think it's like needed, but again, it's still pretty good.
Yeah, a
Ravenous.
little extra healing. We can touch on some of the sorcery secondary runes since a lot of people run sorcery secondary. What do you guys think about Nimbus Cloak as a rune?
Shit's
think
kind of
it's viable?
trash.
If you go Prowler Squad, there's no need.
Hmm.
It's pretty nerfed, like super nerfed. You don't like there's like a few moments where Nimbus will help you. Maybe when you're going for that last auto or something. But yeah, it just feels kind of bad. After the nerfs you got a while ago.
Mm-hmm. We can establish most of us will go absolute focus if we're going sorcery, right? That's like the one in the tree that everyone's gonna go. I don't know if anyone runs Transcendence.
Transcendence is good as well, but yeah, I mean personally, I like to run absolute focus.
Mm-hmm.
I think you can run it if like you know you're gonna go Eclipse and you really want like the CDR or Tabbies or Mercs, and the CDR will just hold you over to like your second item. Because going Eclipse with no CDR into like second item is like really awful. Like you have to go CDR boots, I feel like, but you can go like Transcendence instead, and it feels like sort of playable.
Mm-hmm. So I guess it kind of comes down to Water Walking versus Gathering Storm as the other rune a lot of the time if you're going absolute. What do you guys feel about that?
you have a better like early mid game with water walking. I feel like. I think it's the more consistent choice for the
It
most
is.
part.
I agree.
Yeah. But I run Gathering Storm anyway because I'm a greedy fuck. Because like I don't know. I just for me I just try and maximize my AD in my runes, so I just take Gathering and Absolute Focus. Because obviously you don't get the AD out of the river when you take water walking. So I do like that combination of runes. I feel like it's super underrated. Gives you heaps of damage, especially when you're stacking like eyeball collection as well. Like your AD just skyrockets and you do just so much damage. Your Qs will just melt people. It's crazy.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just prefer that personally.
I'm just also using Absolute Focus Gathering Storm. And I think Gathering is really good, especially if you're smurfing, because it's literally a game winning rune if you hit like 30 minutes or even longer. And also I don't think water walking is that much of a game changer, but it just feels nice.
Hmm. Fair enough. Just to touch on the other runes in the precision tree, do you guys think it should always be cut down, or do you think there's arguments for Coop and Last Stand?
I think I never go Coop on most of the champs, and I just always go cut down or Last Stand.
How do you decide on which one that you want to go for the game? Typically,
If I'm planning to get a Black Cleaver or something, then I'm always going Last Stand. If not, I'm just going cut down.
Mhm.
Or if they have a lot of tanks, obviously you're going cut down.
Fair enough. Saber, what do you prefer for the precision runes, secondary runes?
I think I go cut down if I go a bruiser style build, but if I go assassin, I just take Coop most of the games.
Do you notice it's like feels nerfed, or do you think it's still strong if the enemies are squishy?
I mean, like you're not gonna proc last stand if you're going for assassin, in my opinion. Like you're gonna be fairly healthy before you kill someone. Like when you're trying to get your damage off, you should be like at least 80% HP or like fairly healthy. So like just take a rune that will like give you extra damage. So I just go Coop degrees.
Fair enough. Exos, did you have any opinions on any runes that we covered that you wanted to touch on?
No, I kind of agree with the Absolute Focus Gathering Storm. I like to maximize my AD as well. Because
Fair enough.
like your Q damage is just over the top. But I can see water walking be really good early to mid game, yeah.
Have you tried Inspiration Secondary on Kha'Zix? I know people experimented with that during preseason and last season.
I used to run it the entire season 10. I tried playing it in like preseason and start of season, but it doesn't really feel the same for me anymore. And I feel
You-
like the extra damage is just nice compared to like the Summoner Spell Heist.
Yeah, I don't think it's worth taking inspiration over just basically free damage from sorcery.
Yeah, after they nerfed like the Cosmic, didn't become really shit.
The free boots aren't worth it anymore. Is
That's
that
still really nice, but like, why?
It's okay,
like,
but
again, free damage.
every other rune is pretty awful, except for like
Exactly.
maybe Futures Market if you want to cheese out a Dirk or something, but it doesn't feel like right.
makes sense? We can officially wrap up runes and move on to some items
Thank God.
and Kha'Zix itemization. We'll start with the obvious, which will be mythics. Let's see. What do you want to start with, Tinjus, as your mythic topic?
Trinity
of choice?
Force.
Trinity Force. It did get buffed this patch.
It did, and it's still shit. So
It's still shit.
let's not talk about that.
Okay.
I don't know. I guess Duskblade first. I mean, it's pretty much first in line, I guess.
Okay. So what would you say is like? I know you've been running Duskblade a lot, probably more than I've seen other people running this season. what do you think is the biggest strength that you
Yeah.
get from Duskblade over the others?
It's definitely my favorite mythic, just because it's nice and easy to proc and use for the most part. Plus, it has so much potential. When you can actually be useful in games. So, yeah, I think the item is basically just built for multi kills and team fighting. So I really like that. Even just like against like 2 people, it doesn't have to be like a huge fight, but just a small skirmish. Even it's like that extra. It's like when you kill someone, it's basically an extra cast of your R for the most part. So you don't actually have to use your R in a lot of scenarios with Duskblade if you can get that invis reset off. Like you basically just hard win the fight because you're giving yourself more ultimate casts. So yeah, I don't know, just the fact that you can chain that with your R casts, and like your passive order gets reset as well, and then you got the damage reset on the Duskblade as well. Like it's just amazing for multi-killing, and something I really like to go.
Hmm. Did anyone want to add anything onto Duskblade for
Oh yeah,
why
and the
or why not?
ability haste is nice.
Oh, true.
That too.
Does anyone else use Duskblade here that wants to add on?
Yeah, I always go Duskblade for the ability haste. Yeah, and the damage of Duskblade is just straightforward. Like if you go past core, you need to use your active, right, which is 40 cooldown, and it is pretty laggy sometimes, and it will just kind of mess up a combo sometimes. And Duskblade, you just like casually EQA auto, and then you just proc it. It's really easy.
Hmm. What evolutions do you recommend for Duskblade? Izon?
I just like QER for the most part.
What about Izon? What do you think?
Well, I won't really like have another evolution. I just want it like look at the enemy's team comps. I won't really like evolve any evolution like because I buy Duskblade.
Hmm. Okay.
I find myself going QER just because it's with Duskblade you should be actually like assassinating and killing. So I just go QER because it's like you snowball the hardest with it for the most part if you can actually kill. But the problem with Duskblade is that when you have to kill, right? So when you're faced with like a harder game, I think the other mythics are way better. Duskblade is pretty lackluster in a lot of scenarios where you can't get reliable kills off. So a lot of the time I think Prowlers is a really good alternative.
Hmm.
It's basically like a feast or famine item, in my opinion. Feels kind of bad when you're behind.
Some people complain about the awkward interaction with R Evolve and Duskblade. Do you feel like that's a concern when you choose that item? With
I don't
R?
really. I think it's just something you have to get used to. I don't really think it feels bad at all. Yeah, that's basically it. Like, yeah, it may seem like you have so much invisibility to work with, but yeah, I don't think it's too big of an issue. Plus, I usually just go Q anyway first.
Hmm.
With Duskblade, I feel like.
Saber,
Just
did you
to-
want to add something?
For Duskblade, I feel like honestly, I want to go this item if I can every single game. I feel like the item just gives you the highest potential in team fight and allows you to make some like sneaky plays and the enemy will probably tilts. If you get a lot of kills with Duskblade, it's permanently invincible, and then you have like a bunch of stealth. Like Prowlers, I do a mix of both Duskblade and Prowlers. I don't really do a set build every single game. So like if I need survivability, in my opinion, and I feel like I can kill the person, I'll probably go Duskblade just because it allows me to team fight better, and I can probably use the passive and try to get more kills if I can get a reset. But I'll probably go Prowler if I feel like I don't make use of the passive as much. So let's say they have like a Kaisa, which reveals me, so it doesn't matter if my Duskblade goes off or not, or like Lulu, for example. Any ability that reveals stealth, I typically just go Prowlers. But Duskblade is good. I like it.
Makes sense. We actually have a new guest who is maybe a replacement for Zakilla, who can't really be in the call at the moment. So we have Sam, who is from NA, very high elo Kha'Zix player. I was gonna ask what mythic you prefer right now, if you're there.
Right now, I've been playing a lot of Eclipse and Prowlers, because I think the Lucidity boots, you can still get a lot of haste with CDR boots and without the Duskblade passive, so I've been preferring like Eclipse and Prowlers, because you can get so much front-loaded damage with those items. Also, if you get those items in skirmishes, like it's so nice to just have that like movement speed or like the instant damage with Prowlers. And the game is so fast tempo with how the game is right now, with Hecarim and Udyr being meta. So I think those items are just better against the meta junglers right now, compared to Duskblade.
Mm-hmm. Would you suggest or recommend going Conqueror with Eclipse every time?
No, I kind of just look at what their comp is. Like, if I see I can kill all 5 of them, then I usually never run Conqueror. But if it's like really risky, like top 2v2 or something, Conqueror is okay. But normally, I've been trying a lot of Dark Harvest out recently. But yeah, Dark Harvest is pretty good. Used to be Electro when I played in Season 9, but Dark Harvest is think's pretty good right now, actually. I think everyone likes it.
Yeah, it definitely seems like the more popular Keystone choice right now. When you go Prowlers, do you only go like full traditional lethality, or do you ever mix in bruiserish items?
I don't like to. I don't prefer to. Just it's better with my playstyle, but I don't know how everyone else thinks about builds. But when I build Prowlers, I'm usually just trying to go in and kill someone as fast as possible.
We can transition to Prowlers and touch on other areas of it. Does anyone else have any thoughts on Prowlers? Someone who mains it and advocates for it right now?
Did you say Prowler?
Prowler, yeah.
Prowler.
Are you a Prowler fan?
I'm a big Prowler.
Yeah. What do you like about it?
I think the item is just really good just because of the passive purely already. Like the 5 lethality upon item completion is kinda huge. Because right now if you go Prowler into like for example Serpents, it's like the cheapest item. You get like I think it's 43 lethality on like 2 item spikes, and everything you touch just disintegrates into air. It's kind of the same thing with like Rek'Sai. If he goes Prowler, people just always like don't expect the small dash, so you can use your jump early or late, and you can decide to either go in with the dash or the jump or the ult. But people never really expect like the follow-up dash from Prowler, so you can like blow many flashes, many mobility skills, and you still get a chance to kill them. And I think it's also a nice counter to like Gale Force, for example. People Gale Force away, you just Prowler back on top of them. And well, they're kind of fucked.
Fair enough.
It's just a really strong item. Even if it didn't have any active, I think the passive itself is really like worth taking. Even if you don't know how to really use it effectively, the active, just the passive on its own just gives you like so much value on like one-shotting. Because if you like combine it with like the sorcery page with absolute focus and gathering storm, like that AD combined with like the extra lethality is just gonna make you like hit so much harder if you were to take like Duskblade for example or Clips. So it's kind of busted.
Do you typically open with Prowlers, or do you think it varies on engage, fight to fight?
Yeah, it really depends on the fights. Usually I go in with my art. If it's like if I'm trying to like catch an ADC in mid lane and it's like alone in a lane and I can run up to him with my ult, then E and then Prowler, and then usually the full one shot combo. But if I get the chance to like sneak up on him closer to save the Prowler, I prefer to save it, or I prefer to save E. Just depends on the situation, because most of the times they either flash away or just use a skill.
Mhm.
But it just really depends on the situation, and you can also use Prowler in ways to escape from the enemy. You can use it over walls or camps. You can use it on minion waves. There's so many uses. Like you can get really creative with it if you want to play it.
Mhm. I have a question about the damage amplifier angle. Does anyone feel like it's noticeable? How important, how impactful is the damage modifier? If anyone can answer that.
I
So-
honestly can't notice it too much personally.
I feel like you're usually using it on a squishy target, so they're dying anyways.
They just die.
But when you look at the damage, it's not that bad.
Hmm.
And I
I
think
think
most of the damage. Okay, I think most of the damage comes from the mythic passive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. I think you just use the active for the gap closer really, for the most part.
Hmm.
That's how I use it anyway, because I find it negligible. Using the active for damage for the most part. I think it's really nice into bruises. I think it's more noticeable against those types of champs like fighters and bruises, because you are actively having to queue them multiple times, so you notice the damage boost a little bit more. But against squishies, like I really notice the damage jump because they just
Mhm.
die anyway.
Another thing people don't touch on as much is you can use it to minions and monsters, so you can technically use it as an escape if you need to, but that's just like a little minor thing to note.
It's also really good if you like go for like an objective steal. If you like Prowler the Baron or the Drake or the Herald or the Elder, whatever it is, it also amplifies your smite damage, so you can like smite from
Oh,
like higher HP as well.
Oh,
that's
really?
actually big. That's
I didn't know
actually
that.
big brain.
So
Yeah.
that's pretty nasty if you want to like outsmite people, especially if your levels up as well. It just gives you a big chance.
Are you guys heard it here first? The hidden EUS tech. Very nice.
And I still keep missing smites, so yeah.
The end of the whole is like insane. The fact that like it follows like literally every dash in the game, that it follows flashes if you time it right. Tristana, leap, Ezreal E, everything. The fact that
Mhm.
you can use it while stealth to like juke through people or engage with just ulti, and you can like Kha'Zix Sleep is like his most important ability. So like the fact that you can save it and just use Claw instead is like really important. I think.
Yeah.
It just has the best passive. The other ones are like fucking awful in my opinion. Like Lethality is just the best stat you can buy. So yeah, it's pretty good, and it gives you your CDR, like the perfect amount of CDR you need. So
Mhm. Would we all agree, Prowlers, if you're going traditional full lethality, it's not for Bruiser, Kha'Zix? Is that a fair
I would say so. Yeah.
statement?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. We can move on to Eclipse now, because that's probably the second most popular, or maybe I'm actually not sure where Eclipse fits in, but I know a lot of people run it. What are you guys' thoughts? Whoever wants to go first on Eclipse?
I think the item's good into like these chem tank junglers if you're even playing Kha'Zix into those champs, but
Yeah.
generally I'm
I think-
going Electrocute Dark Harvest every game, and into tanks I don't really care. I'm just going Eclipse and Lord Dom, so I'm never going Bruiser right now.
Mm-hmm. Does anyone else have thoughts on Eclipse, or is actually running it?
I think you can just
No,
run it.
I
and
think
then
it's the best bruiser mythic item you can get.
Hmm.
I don't even think you have like you don't even have to go bruiser specifically. It's just gives you more
Or,
like team.
like
build.
against bruisers.
I don't think it even gets your build. Like I think it's really pretty.
It
good
seems
too.
very versatile. Like people do with lethality.
It's like
or Bruiser.
super consistent. I think like if you haven't practiced Prowlers, because Prowlers has like a really high skill cap, you can just go Eclipse every game if you want.
Mm-hmm.
And like it's not really like a bad item.
How would you rate the healing on it? Or one sensor?
It's pretty big. I think it's really noticeable. With the shield plus the healing means you like can fight pretty much any champion.
Mm-hmm. What were you gonna say, Tingus?
I was just gonna say like it's really good, and I approve of it. But
Okay.
yeah, I don't I tend to not run Eclipse very often, because I think Prowlers and or Duskblade is way better into the squishier enemies.
Mm.
For the most part, like Eclipse
Yeah,
is
it's-
super reliable, and like its stats are really nice. But just the lack of CDR really unappealing to me, and I tend to go more into the other two items if I want to kill squishies. But I find Eclipse is like really good into like more fighter type champs and the chem tank junglers.
Do you find yourself choosing Eclipse based off the enemy jungle matchup, or do you think it's more of a team choice? Enemy team choice?
Yeah, I think it's enemy jungle matchup for sure.
Okay.
Tank
What were you-
jungler,
Mhm.
Eclipse, go for it. Like, I don't want to Duskblade into that shit. Or
Yeah.
Prowlers, even. Personally.
Understandable. I know Izon. What were you gonna say on Eclipse? What are your thoughts?
It's a really decent item, and yeah, people bring it, I understand, but I only use it when then we got lots of tanks because of the effect passive. But I tends to not using it because it's the lack of CDR, like Tin just saying. And
Mhm.
if I want to play the booster style, I prefer the golden curve because I got a CDR.
Mm-hmm. How relevant do you guys think the shield is when you're looking at the item overall? If anyone wants to
I think-
answer.
The shield and move speed are the most relevant parts, and the damage is kind of not existent. But
Yeah, I think you're never building for the damage because it's only ever gonna be like 30 damage or 40 damage on a squishy.
Mm-hmm. The the HP part of it.
Yeah. It's
Okay.
like kind of non-existent.
It's meant to build for a tank.
Fair. Did anyone have any closing thoughts on Eclipse? Just overall opinions on it? If not, we
Good
can move
item.
on. Good item.
Mm.
Okay. Makes sense. We can move on to some other items that are non-mythics and go through a couple. The more popular ones, but we probably won't have enough time to go through each and every item for Kha'Zix. If you want a full breakdown, there's guides. Mobile Fire / Jinju's guide. I don't know. You can find guides out there. But one popular one that people are still building and advocating for, and I myself really, really love, and that's Serpent's Fang. Does anyone have any thoughts on Serpent's Fang on Kha'Zix?
I said it's broken.
It's
Like,
It's so good. The stats you get for it, and it's so cheap. Like it's so
Yeah.
good.
2,600 gold for 18 lethality, like, just that's a bargain. It's
Yeah.
a bargain right there.
Yeah.
I'm
True.
building the item almost every game, even if they don't have that much. Like, if they just have like one shielder, I'm buying it.
Yeah,
Just 'cause the
exactly.
stats are
Even
so
if
good
it's
in
zero
general.
shields, it's just the
Even if
most
they have zero, yeah.
literally the most damage that you can build on a second item.
hmm
So it's like LDR if they're like
I feel like everyone who tries it comes to that conclusion, even if there's like 1 or 0 shields. It's just so cost efficient.
and then you get like what, like 45 lethality off 2 items with claw. And then you just fucking one shot them, so
Do you guys recommend building it second, like right after Mythic, or is it okay to build it later on? What do you guys think?
Think because
Probably
it's so
second.
cheap, second is really good.
Mm-hmm.
So just buy
You
Graveyard
always
Pit.
want to go for it second, basically. I think the item, like, the later you build it, the less gold efficient it actually gets in your build.
Yeah.
I
Mhm.
can't imagine why you wouldn't go unless you really needed like Edge of Night or like anti-heal or something random like that.
Yeah. What do you guys feel about it did get a change like a couple patches ago where it doesn't deal damage just damage to shields. It's like a debuff that applies like grievous wounds. What do you
Oh, it
guys
got
think about that change?
It's stronger.
Infinitely better.
It's way better. It's so much better.
It's so
Okay,
nice.
Yeah.
Karma old Seraphine.
okay. True. Does it increase W evolve's value because you can apply it to more people, or is that not as much of a factor? What do you guys
Oh,
think?
for sure.
For sure.
Okay.
And like the fact that it's pretty much the same as it was before, because it'll debuff on existing shields. Like if they're already shielded and you hit them with it, it'll reduce their current shield by half before dealing damage.
Mhm.
So it's like
Alright.
better than grievous wounds because it works on existing shields.
So to summarize, as a Tingus title, buy this item, you will get Challenger. It is guaranteed. Is that fair, Tingus?
I don't actually buy it.
Wait, what?
Like, it's a good item, but I don't buy it that much.
Come
because,
on.
no CDR, so you know.
Ah, shit.
No, I do sometimes. Just when I feel like I really need damage, I guess,
hmm
or shield banking.
There is one really, really relevant one that's just got changed, which is the LDR versus Servilda's discussion, which I know we'll probably have a lot of opinions on. Whoever wants to go first on that.
Typically I'm still building. I only build LDR 2 tanks now. Like people that will have more health than me for sure. But if you're against like people that don't build health, but they're like buying like GA and stuff, you can go Grudge. Or like GA tabbies.
Mm-hmm. And just to summarize for people, LDR now costs 3,000 instead of 2,900, with the combined costs increasing by 100, and the AD is reduced from 35 to 30, and then Servilda's went from 3,400 to 3,200, with combined going down 200. So it makes Servilda's definitely more viable than it was before, because Kha'Zix couldn't utilize the slow very much. So what do you guys think of the new Servilda's? Is it on par with LDR now, or what would you guys say?
I'd say so. I think they should cost the same though. But like Strolls could be 3K and it'd be like pretty balanced still.
What do you think about the slow aspect of it for
It's
several of
worthless.
those? Worthless.
Even if you don't evolve E, I think it's worthless. Or even if you have no W evolve, I think it's so worthless because you're like gonna be on them anyway, and your passive slows them. So
Yeah, and if you have W Evo, like you don't even notice it anyway, since it's 60% slow or 90% slow. There's no
yeah,
difference.
because of how hard caps work on slows, it literally does nothing with W evolve, unless it like it might give you like 20%, like 20 more flat slow or something, like really nothing. But like it's so good. Since it's cheaper, it's like way a lot better now.
Also has ability haste, which is really good as
Yeah.
well.
True. I was gonna touch on that too. Yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry.
if you can go Dust Blade, you kinda like it, I guess.
hmm
Because ability haste over crit chance is, I think, obvious choice.
For sure. In terms of LDR, do you guys notice the damage difference against tanks, or is it maybe not as worth with Servilda's being cheaper? Would you still buy LDR this patch? Despite the nerfs? Anyone?
Yeah, if they're tanking enough, you still
Buy
got it.
that, yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, if they have like Maokai, Sejuani, Scion, all in one team, LDR for sure.
And it's still more. And it's more armor pen too, like 5%. So it's like even if it's 15 less AD, the damage is still pretty comparable against squishies. If they have like Ninja Tabi or GA or something.
Yeah. And the way I've seen it broken down is like the crit part of it is like a luxury. Like even if the item didn't give crit, it would still be good. And
Yeah.
last patch better than Servilda.
Like both items just have useless passives, like crit and the slow are like just worthless.
Yeah. At least the crit is like a burst of extra damage, right?
Yeah, sometimes
It's a
you
nice
want
luxury. Yeah.
I random.
I guess that's any closing thoughts on LDR versus Servilda? someone didn't get to talk about it. Okay, we could move on to Ghostblade. Do you guys still think Ghostblade's viable right now, or worth picking
I
up?
don't even think that's an item, to be honest. I'm
The
surprised
worst
it's still in the
item
game.
Literally, I think it's the worst item in the game.
Damn.
But it's better than collector. So
Really?
I don't think it's better than Structure at all.
I'm never.
That's how dog water that item.
The only lethality items I'm building right now are Mythic, Serpent's Fang, and then I'm building Shrodas or ODR. And then I'm I don't know how good Mana Immune is, but I'm building Mana Immune and then usually like a.
Oh
defense.
yeah, that's something to talk about.
I'm never building any other lethality item.
Yeah, it's really just Demir who's like hard pushing for Mana Immune, being worth trying. But
Isn't he also pushing for Sanguine Blade?
yeah,
Sanguine Blade is so bad.
Did he do crap? Why is he doing all this? What is this? Does it actually work? Like, I'm really confused.
I know Tim just
I run Sanguine. It's hella nice. Like, this shit
Okay,
feels so nice. The
we'll
hell?
pivot into Sanguine. What is your biggest argument for Sanguine Blade?
Well, you get the physical vamp for one part, and then you've got attack speed as well when you're alone, so you can split really easily, and you can just rack up like this huge lead. When you're playing solo for the most part, it's like a solo carry item. That's how I see it, anyway.
Like,
You
what
just
percentage of the
take it,
game-
and then you go split, and then like you're just like 2 levels above everyone at
How
the end of
often
your split
do
session.
you have the active up? Do you think like during a match after you get it? Most of the
More
time?
often than you think. Like really, yeah, you have it up quite a bit. I wouldn't say that's like a problem. It's only when like you're grouped for a long period of time is where you don't actually get the active. But yeah, I think if you're like splitting and stuff, and you're just like power farming, etc., like it's so much value. You get so much
Is it-
value out of it.
Is it something you get later on in the build or after the
Later,
the
yeah,
other
yeah.
items?
You get it later. Yeah. Yeah, it's not always the best choice, but when you can actually, like, if you have like split pushing pressure, etc., and you can just go for like lone assassinations, it's huge,
Mhm.
huge item, which
Is it-
rarely happens because Chemtech mana. So
True.
yeah, I also
okay.
value Ghostblade a lot, by the way.
What's the biggest
While we're
value
still
for
on
you?
that. I really value the move speed. That's just it. I know it's like 400 gold more than Serpent's Fang, but that move speed active alone, I feel like is really good for going for picks. Especially with R Evolve. Like you put those two together and you can I think it really enhances your killing power in a lot of scenarios. So if I feel like I really need that move speed to go like sneak into a lane and kill someone, then I'll buy it.
Mhm.
If you don't need that though, then you just go Serpents, because same stats for cheaper.
How would you value the out of combat move
I
speed?
also
Oh,
buy
sorry.
the Humus because of the move speed. You just move faster and then you just do a stuff faster. And actually, I don't think that 400 gold doesn't matter because you also get 5 more AD, right? And yeah, I won't like every game I just go 7. Sometimes I go Humus. I won't really like think that the 400 gold really matters.
Hmm. Do you prefer
For me, it's
the
just
like out of combat move speed or the active? Either one of you.
both are just really good. Can't really compare. I just alternate between Serpents and Humans for the most part. It's like if you have the gold to buy Ghostblade, it's just more valuable in my opinion.
Fair.
Okay, I like Yomu's too, but personally, I never have an item slot for it, unless I'm into like 5 squishies. But that's just my take on it.
Yeah, you don't buy it against like tanks and shit. Not worth it.
Mm-hmm.
You only buy it if you can actually kill. Is the summary of that. of that item. Ever since they removed the cooldown reduction of it, it's like not as valuable, and it's more situational now.
Mega, what do you think about other lethality items? Like outside of Serpent's Fang, what is your go-to lethality item after Mythic?
I'm really big on ability haste, so usually I like getting a little bit tanky Black Cleaver. I think what is that one? I don't like Edge of Night at all, to be honest. Like I think
Really?
it's really, yeah, I don't think, like, sure, it'll give you like a shield, but usually it's gonna get popped, right? And then you're gonna get stunned right after or something.
I agree. Yeah.
I think ability, like, the thing with the W evolve 2 and Dustblade, like stacking ability haste is so broken because I'm spamming W every like 5 or 6 seconds, right? At like really high
Yeah.
levels. Because games aren't gonna end in like 15 minutes. Usually they're like 20 to 30, even 40, like really depending on your elo too. So like usually you'll get like a decent amount of ability haste. So I like getting a little bit more tankier. Usually it's really weird. Usually after like Black Cleaver I'd go into like Serelgia's Grudge or whatever, something like that. I don't use like Sanguine Blade or Dust Blade, like none of these items at all. I don't think they like, I'm like, when are you ever really gonna like split on Kha'Zix? Like I never, like, in my life. I don't know.
Fair enough.
Mm.
What do you guys think about Umbral? Is Umbral actually good now, or is it underrated, overrated? What do you guys think?
I think it's so underrated, man.
I was buying it before the Serpent's Fang buff as my second item. It was like really, really good. Like the item is like, it's also a dirt cheap item, and the stats aren't bad, and you like get everything that Kha'Zix wants. So like, you could basically spike at the same time like Serpent's Fang spikes.
Yeah.
So you could do a lot of damage really early, especially if you get really fed.
How much do you value the like vision word clearing aspect of it?
It's pretty good
Yeah, I think it's undervalued.
for sure.
I think it's like really good, especially considering the, like, obviously last season we had like Duskblade and stuff to check if bushes and stuff were warded. So now that we don't have that, I think Umbral's really nice just to make sure you don't get collapsed on if you're sitting in a bush or something. So yeah, I really value Umbral.
Do you think if
That's
you go Umbral, should you stick with Sweeper, or is it worth like having trinkets? That way you can
Both
deny and both? Okay.
You can have trinkets as well, like yellow trinkets, but
I think
mean-
red trinket is way too good with Umbral Glaive because you can literally just go from like base to like enemy fountain, just sweep everything and just one shot wards.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can literally single-handedly keep them with no vision as one person. You don't even need your support.
Yeah.
If you just keep both.
And then their
I'd
support has to go
say-
reset for wards, and then you can just pick someone.
Yeah. I'd say the only argument against Umbral is that Serpent's Fang is the same cost and gives you 8 more lethality, or however more lethality it is. That's the only argument I can see against it. Other than that, like I really value the haste, how cheap it is, the vision passive, like everything about it. It's super nice.
Also, Serpents gives 5 more AD. But yeah.
Yeah.
For Umbral, what was I gonna say? I lost my train of thought. Did anyone have any other thoughts on Umbral Glaive?
Great item. You can buy it, but I think I prefer more damage and I got better item choice, like Black Cleaver or any other items.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just specific against like Teemo. If there's like a really fed Teemo, I always build it, and then he
Teemo?
can't, like he can't shut out the game. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea.
Not like you play against most Teemos, and they don't really get fed that often. But if they do, I pretty much always buy it.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, it's just kind of like it's like always consistently good, but it's not like it's so much weaker compared to like Serpent's Fang for damage, or like any other util items. It's just like generally good. It's kind of like going Eclipse. Like it's just generally good, but there's a lot less potential, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So like you could always buy it, but there's probably better items. most games.
Fair enough. I will say if there's like a Shaco support and you're ganking bot lane a lot, you know, could be valuable in those situations. We'll end the lethality items section with probably the most divisive, which is the collector. People either really, really love it or they absolutely hate it, from what I've
It's
seen.
trash.
Yeah. What do you
Yeah, I
guys
don't think
in
it's
my
good
opinion?
either. I don't think it's that great either.
Please don't buy that item. Holy
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah.
There's no point, especially on Kha'Zix. Like I don't really understand that.
hmm I think people just saw that it was a broken item, so they're like, because the
Yeah.
item's so good, it must be good on Kha'Zix, but
You
no.
don't use the execution passive on Ka. You just don't. You overkill them. And
I agree.
like if you want an item like that, buy Essence River. Legit. It does as much damage as Collector, and you get ability haste as well, plus chain
I
passive.
once buy it with Essence Weaver, but Essence Weaver get nerfed this patch, so I don't buy it anymore.
Mhm. Makes sense. A collector also gives extra gold on executes, but I really don't see many people mention that part of the item.
No way!
I don't think it's
Really?
yeah.
How much? Wait, I actually forgot about that, to be
It's
honest.
25
20.
additional gold.
Damn!
25 additional? Are you serious? All right, guys, we're
Yeah, the
gonna.
item's broken. Build it every
God
single game for
damn.
an item. Skip
The
mythic.
value.
50 with trial.
Oh my god.
True. True. We become Pike. But yeah, I guess that's pretty much it for lethality. I mean, we can touch on Cleaver, but yeah, what do you guys think about Cleaver right now? It got changes to give more HP recently, and the passive switch from like the cleave extra damage on HP to movement speed. So what do you guys think about the state of Cleaver at the moment?
I think it's good.
Very
Yeah,
good.
solid.
I think it became an
Yeah.
item again. To be honest,
They
Yeah,
like
after
buffed Cleaver,
the-
like
I think it's like
14
really
times.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cheaper.
I don't
too.
think it was. I think at the start of the season it was a bit like really hard to buy because it was so expensive.
Yeah.
But with all the buffs it got, like really nice. It's back to its old season 10 cleaver spot, which is like basically one of the best items on Ka. In a lot of scenarios.
Yeah, I think Cleaver's good, but I'm just not a huge fan of it.
Mm.
Yeah, me
I
neither.
don't think I'll ever buy it until they just fully revert it, because not having the MS just generally, only having it on champions just feels awful to me. Like, just having MS hitting everything speeds up like everything you do so much.
Mm.
And the fact that it's still gated by like hitting a champion, like, I don't know. It's just really bad to me.
What's the best like time to buy it? Right after Mythic, or can you get it third or fourth? What do you think?
I'd say second or third
Yeah, second or third.
for the most part. You pair like Cleaver with Eclipse, for example, and you just melt like Hecarim Udyr.
Yeah,
all the
that's what Tequila's been doing.
beefy junglers. Yeah, it's really powerful. You can even melt like a 3-item Mundo while he's ulting. It's huge. You do a lot of damage.
I buy it when I feel that I always get one-shotted.
Mm-hmm. Would you only recommend Cleaver against like tanky targets, enemy tanks, like a lot of tanks?
For sure. There's no reason to go Cleaver if you don't need that armor shred.
Mm.
Otherwise, just go lethality.
Sometimes against Talon, you just get one-shotted, and you sometimes need that bonus health. I
Mm.
think.
Yeah, the HP is definitely something
Yeah.
to
True.
keep in mind. Mm-hmm. One other like small item debate that I see brought up is Death Dance and Guardian Angel. I don't know where you guys weigh one or the other. If one's always better, or there's situations where you would go GA, or what do you guys think about those items? As like a anti-AD.
I like that stance. I think it's good. Actually, sometimes you go both, right? I mean,
Yeah, if
really
you're
depending
against
on
5 AD, you could just go
yeah.
both.
in your set, actually.
Yeah. When's the best time to buy Death Dance? Usually.
I think like 3 AD or more on the enemy team, usually. Pretty beneficial.
Oh, like order wise.
Mm,
Fourth, fifth.
I go,
yeah.
like second.
It
Second
depends.
or
Like
third.
that's so situational. Like, you can do a third, fourth, fifth, even
Yeah.
second too. Like it really depends. Like what they have. I think third or fourth doesn't seem too bad.
Hmm. Fair enough. And thoughts on GA? If anyone builds it, I haven't built GA in a very, very long time, so I don't know what you guys' thoughts on GA is now.
Just don't die. Like
True.
Oh, okay, yeah, true. Yeah, just don't die.
Yeah,
Very good advice from Tingus.
just kill them before you die.
Yeah, I personally don't buy it. I always just feel like once you die, you just die again
You're dead.
straight after.
You're just dead.
Yeah, I don't really get it that much either, actually.
Just buy
I just wish they'd
stockpile.
change it.
and-
I just wish they'd change it so that, like, if you use your one ult charge and you go into GA, it automatically puts your ult on cooldown, even if you have another
Yeah,
charge up.
fucking hate
Yeah,
that.
that would
And
be
that's
so much
that's
better.
that's inconsistent among other champions like
It's
Master
really
Yi or
annoying.
like Ari or random shit where they have like
Mm.
their ulti will stay up even in GA.
Yeah, that's my least favorite part about that item.
I think it's
I
okay,
like
but
Jay
I feel like
as-
there's just better items most games. Like, I feel like
I only
Death
like
Stance just
Jay as
replaces it.
oh sorry, yeah.
Yeah, you go.
I only like Jay as the armor option, but you can sometimes go Death Stance. But I prefer GA.
Hmm. What makes you like GA more?
It's just insurance, I guess, but usually I only build it when I'm fed.
Mm-hmm. It's also like a psychological component where it's like deters the enemies from focusing you or like trying to burst you if they know you have GA. That's one thing I see people occasionally mention. Yeah. I guess that's pretty much it for items. Was there any other niche Kha'Zix items that you guys didn't get to talk about?
Manamute?
Oh, Manamune, yeah. Okay, Zutter, give a case for Manamune. Give the argument for Manamune. Be
Uh,
the Demir that couldn't
I
be.
only play Kha'Zix into squishy teams, so Manamune's good against squishy champs.
Do you think it takes too long to come online, or what is your thoughts on like?
It comes online third item if you're doing decently. So you can go Crawler, Serpents, Tier 2 Boots, Manamune.
Fair enough.
And you can usually get away with it. Like you can get Dirk if you have enough for Dirk. First pack you can still buy Dirk, and then your next pack you could buy Tier or something like that.
What do you usually like to pair with Muramana or Manamune? Just full lethality, or
Currently I'm only playing Lethality Kha'Zix, so I just Prowler, Serpents, Manamune, like a last whisper item, and that's it.
okay, so just pure raw damage. I gotcha. I guess that pretty much covers most of the items. If we go over every single individual item, we'll be here all day. So we can move on to evolutions, which is another heated debate. So what do you guys think about like the first mandatory first evolution on Kha'Zix? Is it set in stone where it's always Q, or is there variance to it?
Depends, really. Depends heavily. Q or R for the most part. I like.
Just don't go E first.
Don't go E first. Wise
But,
words.
I usually go Q.
I always go Q. I never go anything else.
I'll
Is there
sometimes go R, but only with Prowlers.
Hmm.
I think R first it's only viable with like Prowlers.
How does the playstyle change when you go for Arvov? What are your other priorities when you're like level 6
You just go
compared,
gank.
compared to Q?
I mean, Exos knows the best, but Arwolf.
Oh, true.
Yeah.
Access. What do you think?
About our evolve, I think it's the best evolve you can take at 6. Because you're able to gank from bushes by just initiating a vault. You can show up closer to them before they notice. So they have less response time, they have less time to run away. You get your passive 3 times, which is like 3 mini slows, which can be pretty decent. It's great for team fighting as well. You can reposition. It's great for running up to squishies from a long distance. And if you're unpredictable with it, you can just like break everybody's ankles if you have to get out of a sticky situation.
Hmm.
As long as they don't have like revealing skills, such as Kai'Sa W or something like that. But I think it gives you the most outplay potential if you know the limits of like invisibility. That just makes ganking way easier. And then with Q, because of Q evolve, you rarely get like the gank going with like multiple Qs. Like it's just hard to gank like that. I feel like because you like CC, and the R kind of makes up for it by showing up later in the lane.
Hmm.
So yeah, I think it's just a really good choice.
What's like a trade-off when you go R evolve at 6? Do you think there's any downside or any cons that come with it compared to Q?
I don't really think so, because the once you win with Q evolve, you also can win with R evolve, because you have like longer invest time. You can wait out the Q cooldowns, and you get to use it 3 times. You get your passive 3 times. So like damage wise, you should be
Mhm.
fine. Maybe the fight takes longer, but you're still like strong enough to 1v1 almost everybody in the game with 6.
Hmm.
And if it turns out you can't 1v1 him, you can usually just run away with the ult stacks you have. So I think it's really safe evolve, both offensively and defensively at 6.
Mhm.
The only downside is if you get used to it, it's gonna be hard to like get unused to it.
Mm.
But I think it's the same for Q.
If there's no gankable lanes, or is that not really a factor? Since most games will have gankable lanes, people will say there's no lanes to gank, it's not as good. What would you be your argument to that?
Well, I think evolving R makes lanes gankable.
Yeah, yeah.
And
That's
the
fair.
only time I run Q evolve is when I play against Udyr. But when I play against Udyr, I already know I should have dodged the game because it's just lost.
Bro,
Dude, it makes it too
that's
bad for
true.
ganking.
True.
No, that's a perma ban on site, bro.
Yeah.
That champion does crack. Like it's
It's not
real.
okay. It's not okay.
Yeah,
Just
yeah,
running around the map and one-shotting every camp.
yeah. Makes sense. Does anyone actually advocate for W evolve 6? I feel like not
Maybe
many
if you're
people.
like 010, it's pretty good.
Yeah, I agree. If you're 010, yeah, actually not that bad, huh?
Just
There's no-
W the Udyr, and you can't move, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh wait, he has fucking tenacity and
And he has phase rush.
resist. And, yeah.
Makes sense.
You know, I think it's between Q or R for the most part.
What makes Q like the go-to? Do you think, Tingus?
It makes you individually strong, right? So you can farm as fast as like other champs, other like fast clearing champs. You can duel really reliably. You can finish fights quickly, which is, in my opinion, I think that is what makes Q
Mhm.
like really good in particular, because like you can you can pick a fight, you can finish it quick, and then you can just leave before like enemy laners come and show up. So it makes invading and stuff really, really good, and just makes like solo play a lot better in terms of like going for kills and stuff. Whereas with R evolve, you kind of need to like burn your R evolve if you want to win a fight a lot of the time, and so it takes a while for you to finish fights. Plus, once you finish the fight, you have no R. So, like, if you get collapsed on, you just kind of die. And yeah, it just in general, Q is just really good for individual snowballing.
Mm-hmm. What is you guys' overall thoughts on wings, evolving wings? Not first, but let's say second or third evolution. A lot of people this season are really down on evolving E, but do you guys think
I
Second,
love
second.
wings.
Okay, my
I
take
love
is-
them.
yeah, I love wings too, but I think W
They're
evolve
sick,
is
I'm not gonna lie.
tried out better.
It
It's
is
not
better.
that good, but
But
I still
Higher
enjoy it.
elo W is way better. I think if you're smurfing or whatever, like E is
I've
way
been
better.
playing on a only like a mid diamond account, and I'm only playing Kha'Zix when he's good, so I'm going QE every game. QEW.
Hmm.
I go E sometimes, even in like D1 or Masters, if like their team has to be like really not threatening, like 0 like skill shot CC, so you can just comfortably like just leap into the middle of the team fight, not worry about dying. But it's
Yeah.
like really rare, and you have to be really fed. So
Yeah. that's
like
actually
sometimes
very
you can do it even in like high elo, but I mean, not really, like Masters not really high elo, but
Hmm.
it's like decent elo. But yeah, most of them just go KW or RW.
Eyes on. So what were you gonna say about wings? Evolving wings?
I think it is not that consistent as W and R, but I still evolve it.
Fair. Fair.
Same.
Makes
That's
sense.
just it. Like if you want Elo, just like evolve wings at 16. Basically,
Hmm.
you just get way more value out of like W at 11, or Q even, or R, or whatever you didn't take. That's not you
true.
at 11, and yeah, because it's just way too hard to consistently make it work in the harder games, which is why like evolving right now is pretty situational. So you just choose based on like what works.
Hmm. We can
Like,
wrap up.
it is still good if you can use it, but can you use it? That's the question.
Uh-huh. Just to touch on W evolve, how do you guys determine whether you want to evolve at second or third? What's the main factors? Whoever wants to go.
I always take it on 11 second, because that's the point where you're gonna start having like team fights going for objectives. And I think W is too crucial to not take in those team fights, because you can set up for team to disengage to engage, or for them to hit poke and to stall stuff, stall objectives. It just gives you so much pressure in team fights. So I think like second is the best timing to take it. Or you have to be smurfing and you take E on 11 and just go triple jump montage plays, but it's just really huge for team fights.
Fair. What do you think, Tingus, between 16 or 11 for W evolve? How do you determine which one?
I'd say just if you have like, I think it depends on the strength of your team and how strong you are individually. I like taking W early if I have like a strong team I can play with. But I'm not gonna take W if my team's just like horse shit and can't really like deal damage in fights and actively, like push leads. So I'll evolve something else in that regard. But yeah, I evolve W if I need a pure or like enable my team, basically. I really don't value W if my team's just horse shit.
Specifically horseshit for Tingus.
Yeah, specifically.
Yeah, no, I agree though. Like your W is like so good when you can enable your team. So like if you're playing Kha'Zix and you're the only damage source, then like W loses most of its value. You would rather have like R and Q.
Mm.
Mhm.
What do you think about for item synergies, Sam? Like, do you think the value of W evolve goes up a lot more if you are buying Grievous and like Serpent's Fang, or do you think it doesn't play too much of a role?
Yeah, I mean the more you spread like those like sources like Grievous Wounds or like shield spread, like W is always gonna be good. But again, if you're like the only damage source, like at 11, you definitely want like Q and R so you can like reposition with R and deal as much damage with ISO Qs.
Oh my god, okay, we got Demir in the chat, finally. Only several hours late.
In the chat?
Okay, Demir,
Oh, here
what do you recommend evolving on Kha'Zix? What are your thoughts?
QEW.
Okay, thank you, Demir. That was very
Haven't
revolutionary.
changed
fuck.
since season 5, man.
Oh, like season 3
Still
actually.
Chili W.
Later.
You,
Okay.
Demir, can you like talk to us about Sanguine Blade?
Yeah, we went over Sanguine Blade. Can you elaborate?
You're like the master on that, right?
Yeah, you're the innovator.
Dude, whenever I see Demir tweet, he's just like, Sanguine Blade is so good. That's all he says. That's all he says. And then he's like, you guys don't understand the power of Sanguine Blade. That's it.
Yeah.
I
What
mean, you
about
can sell the Baron with that item. That shit's good. Come on.
What about Miramana, Demir? You think it's good?
No,
Or you stomped? Okay. Damn.
too costly.
Okay.
I think Muramana's like fucking dog shit. I don't know. I don't like
Me
have
too.
not having
Fuck that
for
item.
minutes.
My god.
That are in shambles.
I can't speak for everyone because I only play the champ when he's good.
Okay. Well, we're pretty much good on evolutions. We can move on to some fun jungle matchups that are very requested from the community. The most favorite, Hecarim. What are you guys' thoughts on Hecarim?
So the way you read it is like when you learn the champ select, you type in HEC and then you like click on the icon like
Yeah.
and then you
Yeah,
click
you
on
probably want to click that top right, like little button, and then it'll ask you if you want to dodge, and then you want to press yes.
yeah,
You
there's
get
like a
some
little
trouble against Hecarim.
Demir
Well,
has
I
not played.
actually played the game, so
I've never played the matchup because I never see it, so I wouldn't know.
How do you not see it? What? Like,
True.
better rate is like
Hecarim's
80%
actually garbage.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the
Demir's
champion kind of
actually-
sucks now, to be honest.
Demir's literally for season 9 Hecarim. by
Okay,
the
I've
way.
always, in my opinion, I never thought the champ was that insane, but people just die to it because they don't know how to ward.
Yeah.
And then he gets super fed because and then he's strong because he's fed.
And they
They
just
were, they're just blind.
Yeah, they'll just run past the ward and they'll die.
Yeah.
I think Hecarim in itself, like, he's okay. But he'll shit on your team, and then he just gets way too fed. And then you just cry. So yeah, just ban that shit. Like, you're I don't know what it is, but people just can't seem to survive Hecarim ganks. Like, I just don't get it.
You think it's going to be more impressive when he goes Triforce this patch, or is it still going to be Kempung?
I think you still can't
Ban that shit. I don't care.
impressive.
Just get that shit out of here,
You
man.
got the clear, or it's just too OP.
Cyber, I know you play Hecarim a lot.
I don't
as
know why
were-
you guys hold this every single year. It's not like the champion changes.
Maybe it
It's the
doesn't
same
for you.
fucking thing.
True.
You guys talk
Cyber.
about the same fucking thing every year. It's weird.
Cyber. You are a Hecarim player and a Kha'Zix player. Do you have any tips against playing against Hecarim?
Yo, let me show the screenshot real quick.
Screenshot, okay?
In the chat.
In the chat.
I don't play Hecarim.
You don't play Hecarim. Okay, never mind. Is
I
that
play
it?
Udyr.
Do you
Hecarim.
play Hecarim?
It's even worse.
That actually is worse. I was about to say. That's actually possible.
Yeah, I'm a Udyr main too.
That's actually
Oh,
disgusting.
Does anyone have tips against Hecarim aside from banning him?
Just
Kill
start not letting him
Just
do
I'll
anything from
path
the
it
early
really.
game.
Alright, I'll burn
And
him.
then just try to cut him down before he ganks.
Okay. Fair
Just
enough.
pray. Just prayer meta if you're against Hecarim Udyr.
Okay. Devere, since you're here. Sorry, what were you gonna say, Saber?
I was gonna say like the champion is fine, like the matchup is fine. This like team is the main, so
Mm-hmm. So, for our fellow Zinzao player, have you tried the new Zinzao, Demir?
No.
Okay. Well, have you guys played against Zinzao as Kha'Zix? Do you think he's oppressive right now, or like S tier?
I think he's the same
They
champ.
didn't
But
do anything to him, right?
They like
Throw some
almost
Nash's
rewrote-
tooth down or something?
If you like played the game, like if you like clicked you up, you know, in like solo. But,
Yeah, I played some normal games, you know?
Yeah?
ARAM games.
I saw you in the TFT lobby earlier, and that's pretty lit.
True. Okay. Maybe Demir can break down TFT and Zinzao. Zinzao
Yeah,
too.
like is Kha'Zix good in TFT right now? Like, I was just wondering.
True.
No.
Okay. So Zinzao, Zinzao counter to Kha'Zix or no? Whoever wants to
I
answer.
doubt it.
No.
Champion
No.
blows.
Oh,
No,
yeah,
you,
so-
you just path
No,
away from it,
but I-
and then you scale better.
Okay.
That champion is strong right now, though.
I know.
played
I
a couple
feel
times,
like
actually. He
he's
literally
A
dashed
tier.
across your screen when he lands W, right? Like, what is that, man?
fair enough.
I feel like he all damage you.
I think
Was
no,
it-
I think he
was it-
does actually.
Yeah, I think he
Like,
does,
yeah,
but
so-
because he's
A lot of champions
Because-
do though.
yeah, because he's an auto attack champ, like Kha'Zix doesn't really have a problem, I think, dealing with him. But
True.
maybe this is like, well, that's from past experience anyway. I haven't actually versed like the buffed Zinzao,
Hmm.
so
feel
I
like
just
he-
don't think Kha'Zix
he jumps
struggles
on the
against auto champs that much,
Hmm.
aside from Uda.
What do you think, Saber?
The thing is, he's block of that's why it's like hard. He's guaranteed to land W, second W, if he just times it right with his Q auto attack. And like you build Eclipse now, so like the champion is like pretty nutty with damage.
Fair enough. One other popular matchup that people requested is Kane. What are you guys' thoughts on Kane?
Ban it.
Ban it. Do you think blue Kane or red Kane is more oppressive to play against?
Blue.
Blue.
No one even plays red.
Blue for sure.
Wait, really? Okay. I thought a
Mm.
lot of people play red.
Blue is like
Every single
blue.
blue game gets fed from my dumbass teammates and then one shots me, no counterplay.
Yeah, and they go Manamine too, yeah.
It's like the
He's
best
unkillable
assassin
as
against
well.
Kha'Zix. Like the best because he can't stop like he's just untargetable once he front loads his damage, so your stealth doesn't do anything. Just unplayable. And you can't slow him with W.
What's like your window to shut Kane down? Is it before he transforms?
I mean,
Right,
yeah.
Yeah,
Him.
I think six.
You're better TV2 very early, so pretty
Hmm.
much it.
Makes sense. One that people often struggle with, aside from like the two meta ones, is Graves. And this is typically in like higher elos. What do you guys think about the Kha'Zix and the Graves matchup right now?
I think you only lose it. if
Graves
you
is
hide
pretty
yourself.
bad right now, I think. I don't find
feel
problem
like-
fighting against Graves because the jungle experience is loved and he can't just farm and then get better items.
Hmm.
I don't think it's kind of hard if he goes Ignite Exhaust, but I don't think the matchup's gonna be that hard anymore.
Yeah.
You can one shot
And
him.
yeah, probably just call out to get as well if he tries to KU.
Mhm.
I think the Graves
Lot of
matchup is a lot
counterplay.
easier than it was.
Yeah, if you go Shield Bow, you go Serpent's Fang. If you go Gale Force, you take Prowlers.
Mhm.
It's not as bad anymore.
Makes sense. One that some people were mentioning is Viego, but I haven't typically seen much Viego personally. What do you guys think?
I
see
think
it
it's a very, very heavy skill matchup. I think Kha'Zix wins most of the time, unless you let him draw out fights and like kite you out. I think Kha'Zix wins most of the time, but a good Viego can kind of outplay you with his mist and good W's. Once he misses W though, early game, like you basically win the fight.
Now I know Devere does not know what a Viego even is, so I'll ask whoever else if you have any tips against Viego matchup as Kha'Zix. What do you guys think? Whoever else wants to give an opinion.
Be really careful. Sometimes
Wait, you
even
said
he's
Viego into
really
Ka?
behind,
No,
and he
Kha'Zix
can
and
still
Viego.
one-shot you.
I think you lose early, you win at 6. 6 up, you win. Actually, that champion is pretty cracked if
agree.
you're good at it, to be honest, though. You don't find many good Viegos, though, you know? Like, not a lot of people know how to play him.
Mhm. Fair enough.
Yeah, just dodge
Uh,
W in your set, honestly.
We'll speed through a couple more. Lilia right now. What do you guys think is the counterplay to Lilia?
The only thing she does to you is clear faster, but it's a pretty easy matchup in my opinion.
I mean, if you're against a like actually good Lilia, like you just
But yeah.
instantly lose. She can just do raptor like your own raptor camp in your face, and then you just frown. Like
Mm.
you just pray. Like you just have to start like
It's just it's
red.
up
I think she can't just take your raptors. It's like
Yeah.
actually unplayable if they're good.
This
If they
is
just do secret.
matchup is
Most Lilias are bad, but if you're against like I don't know, I played against a few like red account Lilias, and it's just unplayable because they go seekers second back, and they just take all your raptors in your face.
Hmm.
And it's just unplayable.
Fair. Is there any matchup that you guys want to bring up before we move off of
Elise?
jungle matchups? Elise?
Yeah.
What do you guys
I
think?
think
about
Elise is like borderline impossible, honestly. I
Mhm.
struggled with Elise so much. Just because of the amount of damage she does.
I just think you try to avoid her early, really. I mean, yeah, she does counter though. She counters pretty hard for sure.
Yeah,
It
like she's
depends.
never an ISO, but also like the fact that Elise gets so fed off just diving your solo laners, because that's what Elise does best, is like you get behind so fast if Elise just repeat kills your top laner.
Mm. Yeah, that's true.
Access, do you play against a lot of Elises on US?
Lately, yeah, more and more.
What do you think is like good advice against Elise?
I think it's kind of coin flip if your team doesn't end the first 5 minutes when she's power ganking. You just farm up. You just kill her. I feel like they just don't respect it as much. They're kind of squishy, but they do a lot of damage. So just dodge the stun and you're fine.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of all you gotta do. Just dodge the stun and then kill her.
Just dodge this stun. All right.
Do you guys actually think Sanguine is a meme?
Well, what is your argument for Sanguine?
Oh, it
Let's
is.
hear it. Tin just likes it. Maybe you and Tin just are on the same wavelength.
It's literally the most gold efficient item that gives you everything you need.
I think Hail Blades plus
Shit's
Sanguine's
good.
like, you just one shot them.
Right, it gives a will to live as well.
Oh shit.
Hob
Tin-
Sanguine. It's not. It feels nice.
Like once you have
Um,
Sanguine, you feel unkillable. Feels like
Yeah.
it feels like you have that stance with more damage.
Hmm. Wouldn't I think you do with Dustblade, right, Tamir? Or do you like Prowler more?
Yeah, that's play.
Okay. Understandable.
That's
Does
play
anyone,
Fenviz is OP.
yeah. Does anyone have any other jungle matchups that we want to touch on before we move off?
Rengar. How about we talk about Rengar?
Oh, Rengar, yeah. Do you think Rengar is better than
I
Kha'Zix?
lose every Rengar game. I don't know. I don't know what
I
it
don't
is.
know, he gets that free red smite now for some reason.
Oh yeah.
He just clicks W, says meow, and he's full HP again.
Yeah, and you can't even one shot him like with that before you can press W because he has fucking red smite for some reason.
Yeah.
And he can play crit now, just do 1Q and you're dead. So
And you don't get your warrior power spike, you have to fucking build your item and it costs way more gold.
I would buy Executioner early against Vanguard to his W.
Mm.
Before against Rengar, you used to have early power spike against him to beat him. Now you just don't have nothing.
Well, I think you could like before like now you can like do like Sanguine first item and then you're like unkillable. And then you like always beat
Yeah, that works.
Damn, what a great idea.
True.
Sanguine first item is actually good.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
It's
like
not
when
You
you're
bad.
just
in
don't get the CDR, which sucks. But
No, but like Rengar is like, when they buffed his W on monsters, it became really toxic because he starts red buff and then he can do 3 camps and cross at 230. And Rengar couldn't do that before, so he clears so fast for no reason.
Yeah, his
So
clear
like,
is
it's pretty hard,
funny.
like early.
Yeah, like literally every champ just got their clear buffed.
Yeah.
Besides
Maybe they'll
Kha'Zix.
bring back bonus W damage.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then if you're unlucky and you fight him at the same crab, he's just level 4 and you're level 3 and you're just like, fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty true actually. But
Right.
Kha'Zix is definitely way better in team fights, so
Yeah.
it's just it really depends how you play it.
Mm.
The early game is for sure Rengar favored.
100%, yeah. I agree. Fuck that champion.
All right, Mega, you're against Scrub Noob. It's loading in. What is your tips for going against a good Rengar?
Fuck, it's so snowbally, right? It's like whoever gets a kill really just takes over the game.
Yeah.
Bro, I've never
And
won against
see, like,
Scrub Noob Rengar.
like that depends on lanes then too, right? Like I'm looking at my top and mid, like who's gonna fight a lot and stuff like that, even bot too. So like really, I'm just trying to cheese. I'm actually just trying to get a cheese kill maybe early. I think getting executioners early is pretty good though too.
Mhm.
For sure.
Yeah.
And then I pray he tilts, right? He's a pretty good tilter, no? So
Yeah.
really just mental warfare at that point.
Tilt Scrub Noob. There it is, boys. That's how you win.
I don't know. You just have to mind control Rengar players. Like they like mind control your teammates to just int into him. So just have to pray.
True.
Mm-hmm. What about Karthus? We'll end with the Karthus matchup since
I
it's
don't think that's playable if he takes exhaust.
It's not like you should be able to one-shot him, to be honest. Like you should be in a decent position to actually just kill him, in my
He
opinion.
has
There's
exhaust.
only one chance you ever get to kill him. It's if he starts blue buff, and you have to kill him at red. But usually they ward it. Like that's the only time because they'll be low enough from doing like raptors.
Because I scrimmed against one and it wasn't fun.
It's unplayable in my opinion.
It's usually unplayable.
I
Yeah,
always
outcleared
set level 3
2v2.
and then just wait him in the buff because he always full clear.
Yeah.
And then take phase first to dot his skill if he bring the exhaust.
Mm.
First he can't really fight you when he's like full clearing because yeah, just his health is not that high. You can just one shot him.
Do you recommend Hex Drinker into the matchup?
No.
Item
Well,
set.
if they have like 2 or more AP, maybe. Usually
Okay.
though, like not really. I think you're fine with Mercs or something.
Yeah.
Does anyone ever buy a Hex Drinker?
I've never built that
I
item.
haven't bought that item in a really long
I
time.
haven't
To be
built the item
honest.
since the item rework.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fair. It's kind of sad state. But yeah, I wanted to have like a hard cutoff at like around 9 Eastern.
Yeah.
So we will open the stage to whoever wants to ask any of the guests any Kha'Zix related questions. For Demir, make sure you cater them to season 7, season 8 only. Stop after that point. So if you guys have any questions, ping me in Kha'Zix discussion, and we'll.
I got a few questions from the chat on my stream.
Okay. We can answer them while the chat goes in for the COD discussion.
Yeah. So there's one about I think Divine Sundra and like into Cleaver, so like a Bruiser Divine Sundra build. Any thoughts on that? Anyone? Because I tried it and like it feels okay in some
Divine
games.
Thunder?
I think it could work, but then you can play better champ. But since it's constant, if you're
Yeah, click on that.
you can make it work. I don't know.
I think you get,
that
like,
build
Premier League
sounds like
you like click on the item. I'm not sure though.
the build sounds like if you're ahead early, like you can build it and you'll still do fine. But if you're like 50-50, like that sounds terrible.
Yeah, I don't think.
But also, I
never
feel
actually
like you
seen
can
it.
just go Eclipse.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Cause like if you're ahead on Kha'Zix, like you can literally build any item you want.
Fair enough.
Here's another one. I have been struggling a lot against invades recently and getting cheesed hard. So my question is, how should I retaliate against that so that I don't fall behind? Yeah.
I think the only way to stop it is tracking, knowing or starting like opposite side or whatever.
Yeah, normally like most junglers will ward level 1 and back for a sweeper, so make sure you always like
Yeah,
just
I
ward
always-
your entrance of opposite side. Unless you get like late invaded by like an Olaf or something, then it's just sad.
Yeah, I think you always need to drop a ward in your top side for the most part. I do that almost every game.
And
No.
if anyone is in the audience for this call and they want to ask a question in voice, just request to speak, and Mellow Rush will give you time to ask your question. Yeah, if there's any other questions from your chat, then just feel free.
Why no gore drinker? That's another one.
Why no core drinker? Only Agaran does it, right? I don't know.
I feel it. I don't know. I buy it.
I think it's okay, but I don't like it, and especially after they nerfed it.
I think the build that you usually ran with Core Drinker, all 3 items got nerfed. So if you're not ahead early, like the build just feels miserable to play.
Yeah, the Inner Hydra, Score Drinker, like, I don't know how you'd ever build it. The only reason Gurren succeeds is because he's like godlike macro, so he just clicks random on the shop and wins games. Like, it's, I don't think what he builds is good.
Yeah.
Good player.
Mellow, you can ask the question you pinged me with. The first one. Okay.
Oh.
No, I think Flash is always better. Yeah,
You can make it
100%.
Yeah,
work.
you're not an early game character, so you need the flash like insurance in the early game. If you get caught out, you just die.
Yeah, quick question. So for some of the matchups, like Rengar, where he's favored more early, I know the typical ward and then you get your sweeper, or ward your entrance early and get the sweeper afterwards. But would it be better to keep the ward if you're not going to be able to contest him early? If you stay on ward, then you can use that for like a delayed ward or for more vision as you go for the crab, so you can kind of plan out or see if he's coming from another angle. Or is it just better to always go back for sweeper instead?
Typically
Always
for
keep
me,
wards, sweepers.
I never go sweepers on Kha'Zix early game. Like level, I don't recall for sweepers like pre-6.
Got it. All right, thanks.
No, you don't go sweepers at all.
Fair.
Well, Dmir's stuck in like season 3, so he hasn't actually unlocked the trinkets yet. So.
Trinkets.
Samir still uses pink wards.
He's still buying green ones sometimes.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear.
Yeah, so I wanted to ask, like, how are you able to win when your bot lane is like 0 and 35?
Oh, you don't.
You don't.
When your bot lane's
Yeah,
0
you
and
just
35.
0 and
Because I've been
35.
having like these games today. Holy shit! Like my bot lane is perma pushing until they get they get hit by the tower 8 times, and then they die and they ping me.
The
Then
thing
I go
is,
top
like,
mid and counter jungling.
the
Yes,
thing
sir.
is, there's like so many people who ask that question, and there's really nothing you can do to stop people from inting your games. You basically just have to focus on yourself and anyone else who's not inting into the floor. So, like, focusing on inting people, it doesn't really do anything for you. You should just try and work on the areas you can actually influence, and just
It's not like a
try to
Kha'Zix
play
thing,
with-
it's just a jungle thing.
yeah, it's not a Kha'Zix thing. You just gotta play with whoever's strong, and just do what you can. Like, focusing on the inting part of things, it doesn't help anyone. You just mute and you just keep playing.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you for
Alright,
your
thanks,
question.
man.
Yeah.
I wanted to quickly touch on the Nid matchup. Did we talk about that, Nidalee?
No.
Any thoughts on that?
Face us.
We need Mark in here.
I think Nidalee just so oppressive in general, man. Champion's so strong. But like again, like once you get 6, I'm pretty sure like it's just so free for you. Like a good Nidalee will like never make that happen, I'm pretty sure.
like most Nidalees right now, like they can full clear pretty healthy, right? So like it's not even like you can get a cheese invade off.
Yeah.
They can rush Seeker too, and then just build Mystic. And you just can't kill him. He just kites you if he's good. And play with the team.
Whenever I play against those kind of characters, I just try to flip a fight, and if I win the game. If I don't, whatever, just move along.
All right, Kami, ask your question. We're gonna wrap up soon on questions. What was yours, Kami?
So I have a question about what are some common mistakes you see like gold to platinum elo Kha'Zix players make that could possibly throw the game really hard, and like how to fix them?
I'd say the two most important for me is like a lot of the lower Kha'Zix players, they use their leap way too early. Like
Okay.
yeah, that's what reminded me of that. Nah,
Okay, calm down.
nah, yeah, you like your leap is so important if you use it early. Like you're just kind of sitting there with like nothing. I disconnected. Fuck my fucking internet. Hello? Okay, nice. Yeah. The second one I was saying is just don't use your R too early either. Basically, don't use your utility too early, because then you're just left with nothing, and then you're kind of just like walking up to people with no invis, no gap closer, no nothing. So don't use your R too early. Don't use your leap too early. It's only like when you absolutely need to, will you use those two abilities. I see that mistake all the time, and it's annoying. So
Yeah, another thing is like,
yeah.
whenever I like see lower elo Kha'Zix players play, it's like they think their champ is like Thanos early game, but it's like you're not an early game jungler, so like they just need to calm down. Like you don't need to go for like super aggressive plays early. Just turn into Thanos later.
Yeah, lots of loyal players of just walking around, not clearing. They just sit in the bush and then AFK.
Yeah.
And waste their time.
That
Go
clears-
to clear, man.
All right, and then what should you do if like the enemy jungler gets fed off of early game ganks off
You just
like
give
bot
up.
lane? What should you be doing during that time?
Farm.
Honestly,
Just try
like
to punish enemy jungle for being on the
You
other
don't
side of the
want
map.
that to happen.
yeah, you have to try punish, or you just try and coin flip ganks yourself and try to get kills. I honestly don't think farming helps. Like farming your own jungle in this meta, I feel like it doesn't do anything. Like the experience gains are so small, so you need to either punish enemy jungle, or just try go for kills on another part of the map.
All right, thank you.
Do we have any other questions, Mello? In the queue? We won't be accepting any more activities, by the way.
Okay. So I just heard Tinjus mention that you should punish the enemy jungler. I know Kami asked like most of my questions, so I just have a follow-up question. A lot of the times when you're playing up against Hecarim, Udyr, a lot of fast clears, if you try to invade them on the opposite side of the map, their camps aren't even up. You'll be waiting AFK in their jungle for about 10 to 20 seconds. So what do you do?
You don't invade them. You coin flip and pray. That's what I do.
I mean, just path the
I
opposite
don't-
way and
yeah,
just get
you
the
path
trap
up.
and scale. Yeah.
Can you say that again? I didn't hear that.
You path opposite and
You
scale
path the
until you're
opposite way.
stronger.
Yeah.
And then you just keep
So-
farming and just pray for the best?
Basically, yeah. Like you
You
just
farm
play for
until you get a
your
prospect, basically.
play for your power spikes and just go from there. I think the thing that will help you a lot against the faster farming junglers is just knowing how fast they actually clear and just knowing how they path. That's the best way to deal with those kind of junglers, especially like Lilia, Udyr, because that way you know when camps are going to respawn and when you actually have the chance to take them away from those champs. So
Right. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Regal. Okay. Mello. That's all of them for now? Okay. Well,
I got one. Is the best evolve path still EQR?
oh shit. Okay, one of the closing things where I wanted to touch on Kha'Zix Top, a very popular topic for the community, and we have a resident top lane
Kill
Kha'Zix
me.
in the chat. Zero.
Just kill me. It's so much worse this
Give
season.
me a like one paragraph summary of Kha'Zix Top right now. Go.
So basically, you have to hyperindex into whatever you do. Like you can go with the kind of like poke build with Comet and Mermana and high CDR. That works, or you can just go high damage. Actually, a lot of builds Mermana is just better on, but it's so bad early game when you don't have it giving you any damage. You'll just end up with like Tear and Corrupting Potion, and you just have 0 damage with Lucidity boots too, so ends up feeling so bad. Tiamat being removed just sucks, but you can still go like you know, any build. It's just you're hyper indexed into one thing or another. Omnistone still fun, but still bad. Ignite and aggressive still works on people who don't know how to lane. Basically, you're relying a lot more on people not knowing to not be in isolation kind of thing. Whereas before you could go Comet, Tiamat, WMAX every game and just like actually lane versus most people. So
And are you personally having success with Kha'Zix Top right now?
absolutely not. I'm Platinum 4. I was one game away from Masters last season, and now I'm like stuck Plat 4, Plat 3. Yeah, it's pretty bad.
All right, thanks, Zero. Good question.
I think something to keep in mind this season, just really quick, is that since Kha'Zix is more popular now, it's inherently harder to play him because people know how to play against him for the most part. Like before, like he was a little bit under the radar, and so he was seen less. But now a lot of people have more experience against the Kha'Zix matchup, so it's like
I don't think that's what it is.
Is it? Well, that's how I see it. Anyway.
Don't have warrior power spike, so you're weaker.
True.
Scramble Glaive. It's not like warrior.
Yeah.
It's basically warrior.
Yeah.
Well, it was a good seminar, boys. With that, we will wrap up. It was a lot of fun. For everyone who was not here at the beginning, we will upload the full VOD on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Tinges. I mean, Kha'Zix Mains. And